Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you seasoned veterans of what we do around here. What we do around here is bring about conversations of a mental health, emotional coaching, and self improvement topic series. We've got over 575 audios available for your listening pleasure. On a variety of topics, hopefully something that's beneficial to you. If you're looking for coaching, please feel free to reach out. Certainly willing to help you do that. If you're interested in working with me, get in touch on social media at PO Perception on Twitter, or you can get in touch right here on this YouTube channel through a About Me section link and my website and all that good stuff. In any event, things that will hurt your mental health and you may not realize it. So there's 6 or 7 things I want to run through here. The first is fishing for compliments. Look, compliments have to be genuine to be impactful. And so if you're not receiving genuine compliments, it can be hurtful. And oftentimes we seek attention to validate that we're important. But when we seek attention to validate that we're important, we ultimately lead ourselves to kind of devalue that our own importance. In other words, if it's not coming from a genuine place where we aren't fishing for it, then it isn't really real. And if it isn't really real, then we're not getting actual benefit from it. Sooner or later, all the words that people say will have less meaning because we've pushed for something that wasn't really genuine to begin with, and that can be super impactful in a negative way. The next is worry. Now, a healthy bit of worry is important because obviously we want to protect ourselves and stay alive in a healthy and meaningful life experience as long as we can. However, the negativity related to worry is that it can take us away from being at our best. It can take us away from seeing ourselves properly, and it can ultimately take us away from doing things and believing in things that will actually lead us in a positive direction. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that we shouldn't worry about anything, but measure our worry and understand that long-term worry has no real lasting value. The only thing you can control is your thoughts of the moment, and I'm going to grab my phone, so we'll do that. And we will be right back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. One of the most valuable things a person can do is understand that worry in itself has no long-term benefit, in that thinking about and ruminating over things that people often worry about only leads to more worry, and the pure rumination that comes with worrying about something doesn't lead to resolution of challenges. It also doesn't lead to change of circumstance. So worry in itself is a misguided and often unhealthy and sometimes, to put it bluntly, useless activity. And so when we master our mind against worry, we're really making life a whole lot easier for ourselves, and ultimately that can be important, good, and wholesome. The next thing to consider, and we've all done it upon occasion, is push past burnout. Look, the ability to burn out is something that virtually no one wants to deal with. I mean, burnout's uncomfortable, it's unfriendly, it's not fun. It's often painful from a physical and emotional standpoint. It is not a good thing. What happens most often for people who have issues with burnout is they think that what they must do and what is good for them to do is ultimately, in alignment with each other. It's, I don't know, at the end of the day, um, it's hard because you want to keep your agreements, you want to keep your promises, but in order to be able to do so, in order to be able to understand the need to do so, one first has to begin to find boundaries. One first has to begin to understand what they can handle versus what they think they can handle. Those are often two different things. And then set standards for themselves before overcommitting. And that takes a certain level of discipline that oftentimes people struggle to maintain. The next is they don't have an emotional release for negative emotion. So whether that's through music, like me, and other sound, whether that's through body massage, tapping, acupuncture, acupressure, or other healing arts, whether that's through focused meditation or going and hitting a heavy bag. You need to have a daily relationship with releasing negative emotions. If you are storing negative emotions, you will eventually affect your mental health, because any emotion, positive or negative, creates pathways in the brain. A rewiring of the brain can happen when we fixate on negative emotions. That's why rumination and depression show different um, aspects of the brain firing in a certain way. So, finding a way to get to a place where we are getting rid of negative emotion on a daily basis is super important to remaining mentally and emotionally well and healthy. The next is too much tech. This is a huge pet peeve of mine, and although I am in the generation that came up with things like the internet, my generation, probably the first generation that was, I won't say fully internet savvy, but the first generation that the internet was a major part of life. Um, I think we've become dependent on instant gratification way too much. Social media is more harmful than helpful to society because it's caught us into a dependency on instant gratification, which ultimately leads to lower communication, more in-person social anxiety, depression, isolation, comparative contrast, and all sorts of negative things. So if you're depending on tech too much, you're setting yourself up for a mental health break or separation point eventually. The next thing and the last thing is you always want better. Look, it's what I call the illusion of competition. In reality, there is no better or worse. Circumstances can be better or worse, but no one completely 100% of the time has it better or worse than you. It's a frame of reference. There are people in third world countries that are happier than people that are making $100,000 a year. There are people in, dealing with terminal illness who find more joy in a movie than some people might find in an exotic vacation. It's all relative. And so the idea that you need to compete with others, the idea that there's always better around the corner, I will feel happy when, I will feel happy if, I can't feel happy because, no, those are self deceptions. And the self deceptions related to those become extremely prolific and harmful, because at the end of the day, you're focusing on things you perceive that you cannot change versus the things you can, and taking away your own personal power. Hopefully, this is helpful. I encourage you to keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.